Hey everybody, I'm Coral. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with the movies that I ended up watching this month. A lot of the movies I watched this month weren't ones that I really liked, but they weren't ones that I thought were really bad. They were just like super average. So, I don't know. There was one that was like, well, there was like two that were just like bad and like one that I really liked though. So, I don't know. It's a mix. It's a mix of things. It's a toss-up. So the first one I want to talk about is Unfriended Dark Web, and this was directed by Steven Sisko. It came out in 2018, and this is like the second one in this like Unfriended. There was like one that was just called Unfriended, and it's kind of interesting because it all takes place, both of these movies have taken place on a computer screen. Like that's all you see. None of it is like a camera watching, you know, filming things. It's like everything you get is what a computer screen would see. So I guess that premise is kind of interesting. This one I liked better than the first one, but I still thought it was just like okay. It revolves around this group of friends. One of them finds a camera at like an internet cafe and ends up taking it home with him. And then the owner of the computer gets in contact with him again and is like, give me back my computer. And I don't want to give any of the plot away because I thought that the plot was like interesting. And I think that it plays out well while you're watching it. So I don't want to give anything away, but it definitely gets into like this dark web, things that I guess as somebody who doesn't frequent places that are on the dark web, it's kind of like things that people like me, internet goody two shoes would like think is typical dark web stuff, if that makes sense, you know? So I guess my complaints were that it's just like, I think maybe it was a little bit predictable. The ending wasn't super great. And like, I kind of, once the conflict itself was like really etched out and it's like, okay, this is what they need to take care of and overcome. It was just like, I don't really care. But I guess the premise of it was pretty good. So I don't know, not a bad movie and not my favorite. Next, I want to talk about another movie like that, and that is the Poughkeepsie Tapes, which was directed by John Eric Dowdy, and this came out in 2007, so this one's a little bit older. I remember when it came out in theaters actually because I had a boyfriend when I was in high school who worked at a movie theater, and I actually had the movie poster for this up in my room because he got it for me, but I haven't seen the movie until now, so and I think I would have liked it a lot more back then. So I don't know. The thing is that I can see why lots of people would really like this, but I think at this point, this type of thing is a little bit played out, and it's a found footage, like kind of documentary almost, I guess, because it's like, wait, I found a box, so. It's this serial killer documenting the things that he does to people. And that's really it. And I guess, like, it's not bad. It just wasn't anything that really surprised me. There's this shot at the very end, though, that was really pretty chilling. When I think about it, I think a lot of, like, Mundo. If anyone's seen that, I know I felt a lot of the same way about that because that's one that I only watched last year, despite it being a couple years old. And I think that if I had seen it when it first came out, I would have been more surprised by it. But that's another one where it's like there is this really shocking part that will stick with me for forever. But I can't say that I really like the movie more than that. Okay, and next is one that I really thought was actually not a very good movie, and that is The Fanatic. This one came out last year, 2019, and the reason I watched it is because it's directed by Fred Durst, who is, man, he's had an interesting life, but he was the frontman for Limp Bizkit, or is, I guess. I'm not sure if they're still, I don't think they make music, but they might still tour. Yeah, he's had kind of an interesting life. He like lives in like Eastern Europe now, and he's married to somebody who is Ukrainian or something like that. And there's some weird, I don't know, he like got kicked out of the Ukraine or Russia or something like, I don't know, it's just weird. I was reading about that the other day. Okay, so this is directed by Fred Durst, and it stars John Travolta, which is also just like a, I don't know. I'm not really sure how these two got connected and decided to come up with this. So basically, this is a movie. John Travolta's character, he's on the spectrum. He's got to be, because you can tell that he just doesn't take social cues. He just doesn't get them very well, you know. So, he might have like maybe a diminished intellect, but he's really obsessed with celebrities, and specifically like celebrities from horror movies. So basically he starts stalking his favorite horror actor, and I don't know, that's all this movie is about. And it wasn't ever very suspenseful. There is a conflict at the end that's like the climax, but it wasn't very climactic. Like, it was very short and just done with, I guess. And I don't know, it was just okay. I mean, less than okay even. It was one of those movies where I felt like I'd been watching it for forever, and like I kept checking on how long was left, because it was like, I don't really like this. And there's like these weird pauses in the movie where there are like these chalk drawings of the actors, and I don't know, I'm not sure why. It made it seem like creepy babies, but John Travolta wasn't a baby. He was just somebody pretending to be on the spectrum, and I don't know, it was weird. Another one I watched that was just okay, I thought. Like, I enjoyed it, but it's not the best movie. I don't think it was the best movie. And that is Ma, that was directed by Tate Taylor, and it came out in 2019. Tate Taylor also directed like The Girl on the Train and The Help, the movie The Help, and I never saw either of those, but I liked the books. So I don't know. Basically, Ma is like this weird revenge story. It reminds me of, what is that movie? I talked about it on here last year when I rewatched it. What is it? Valentine. That's what it was called. I was thinking Bloody Valentine, but I know that's a different movie. So if you've seen the movie Valentine, which came out in 2001, this is a lot like that, but a little bit different, because it's about this woman named Sue Ann, and she's just kind of like, she seems like she's just nice and quiet, and she starts throwing these parties at her house for these high school students that she's met, and it at first is like well, if you're gonna do it somewhere, you should do it here, because at least you'll be safe. And she like takes their car keys and makes sure nobody drives while they're intoxicated or anything like that. And it kind of evolves from there. And I don't know, it was just, at the beginning, it was like, huh, this is strange, and like, I feel like this woman might have ulterior motives. And then when those get like exposed, it's like, oh, this is very different from what I thought it would be, and it was a little bit less interesting to me then. So I don't know. I don't think it was a bad movie. And I don't think it was a bad movie. It's not my favorite though, and not even one that I'm like, oh, I recommend this. It's more like, if you think you like it, I guess you should try it. But I don't know, it like wasn't bad. It wasn't like the Fanatic where I kept checking the time watching the countdown until it was going to be done, but I don't know. Okay, next I want to talk about this weird documentary I watched. It was on Hulu this month. It's called Wrinkles the Clown, and it's about this guy, I don't know, this clown that went kind of viral, and he went viral because he's very creepy, as you can see, and he offers services. He says you can hire him to scare your kids. So, and this one was kind of strange too, because it starts out this way, and they're following Wrinkles, who like doesn't want to be shown on camera really, but like they're low-key kind of showing him on camera the whole time. And he's like this old dude I'd probably like to have a Bud Light with. He like wears Hawaiian shirts and has this really gruff like New Jersey accent, and he travels around Florida in a RV and eats frozen Hungry Man meals, and he seems super fucking weird. And then I don't want to, you know, it's a documentary, but I guess I don't want to give anything away, because the second part of this definitely goes a different way. And I think it's worth watching. It was interesting. It wasn't like the most exciting documentary that I've ever seen, but it was interesting, and it explored kind of like how things go viral and how people treat people on the internet badly. I mean, this guy, he put his number on the internet, basically, his phone number, so he gets lots of calls that are like, I'm gonna beat your ass, motherfucker, and shit like that. And it's like, oh my god, you don't know this person. Just like, if I caught my kid acting that way, she wouldn't be able to play Skyrim for a year. So I don't know, it was interesting, and it was weird, and I hadn't heard of this Wrinkles the clown thing at all before now. So maybe some of you have, and maybe that will, I don't know, delve into something that you're curious about. I don't know. It was worth watching, I think. The second to last one I'd like to tell you about is Polaroid, and this was directed by Lars Klevberg, and this was also a 2019 movie. Apparently he also filmed the Child's Play movie that also came out in 2019, like the remake, which I haven't seen, so maybe I'll have to watch that. But I have to say, didn't like Polaroid. It was basically, for those of you who liked Goosebumps, it was basically the plot of Say Cheese and Die. If you remember that one, that's the one about the camera where if you get your picture taken, soon some sort of accident happens and you're dead. And if you watch the Goosebumps series, Ryan Gosling's actually in that episode, it was so weird when I watched that again, when my daughter was interested in Goosebumps. And I saw tiny Ryan Gosling, which I know I did not pick up on when I was watching Goosebumps. So that was kind of funny, but it's basically the plot of that. This kind of like weirdo girl, which like, she has friends. I'm not sure why everyone, I don't know. It seems like the movie wants her to be a weirdo, but then she's just a normal high school student. So I'm not sure what makes her such a weirdo. This weirdo gets a hold of this camera. She really likes photography, and I don't know much about that. So it was like a special kind of Polaroid camera that apparently was only made for a couple years. So it's like super cool. She gets it, and when she's taking pictures, there's a weird shadow that shows up in like the Polaroid picture, and they figure out that that's how you know who's gonna die, I guess. It kind of reminded me of the original Omen movie too, where that photographer can take a picture and see how that person is gonna die, kind of a thing. So it's like that a little bit. And so it was just kind of a recycled idea that they didn't bring anything new to the table, so I didn't think it was very good. And I mean, it wasn't at any point very scary. There is some sort of like ghostly monster thing that is killing these people, and there's like a story behind that, and even that's not very interesting. So I don't know. I wouldn't waste an hour and a half watching it again, but I'll leave that up to you guys, I guess. Okay, so to end on a nice, more positive note, I guess, my favorite movie I watched this month was Parasite, which was a 2019 movie, and that was directed by Bong Joon-ho. It received a lot of praise this year. I think it won 2 Oscars. And Zach and I actually watched it on Oscar night because I had been trying to get him to watch it with me because I figured he would like it too. And so I was like, well, I don't want to watch this and love it and then like, you know, not want to watch it again with Zach, I guess. So I finally convinced him to watch it with me, and it was really good. It was super weird. Bong Joon-ho also directed Snowpiercer, which was a great movie. He also directed The Host, which is a great horror movie, and one that I watched a couple years ago on Netflix. It was called Mother, and it was really sad. And he also directed one that's an actual Netflix movie called Okja, which I haven't watched, but maybe I will now because I like his movies. I think there was another one that I watched that was kind of older, but I can't remember what it was called. And it actually had the actor that was the dad in this, Arctic Journal or something like that. So this was a really, just, I guess what I've kind of come to expect from him, because it was kind of weird and I don't know, just goofy, but like a little bit suspenseful. And it's about this family, the Kims, and they are all unemployed at the moment. And it's like a young adult son, a young adult daughter, and then the 2 parents, the mom and the dad. And they live in like this slum. The son gets a job working for this family. He kind of fakes his way into it. He's tutoring. And they kind of set this up so that all of the family gets jobs here with the Park family, and like as a driver, as kind of like a art therapist, and the mother becomes like the housekeeper. And it's just weird. They don't tell the Park family that they're related at all, so they have to like kind of rehearse these stories about like how they know this person who knows this person who can do this job, kind of a thing. And it's really fun and weird. That's like the basic plot of it, but it does get very weird. I don't want to give anything away because I definitely think this is a movie worth watching. It is in subtitles, so I don't know if that bothers you or not, but it was such an engaging movie that I guess the subtitles didn't bother me at all. I mean, subtitles don't usually bother me anyways. I just have to not be doing anything else, you know what I mean? It reminds me of why I like Korean and Japanese movies, because there's just always, or the ones that I like, I guess, they have this element of high strangeness sometimes, and I like it. It was a good movie. Definitely the best movie I watched this month, and possibly one of my favorites of this year so far, at least. I don't expect that to change. It was really a fantastic movie. Bong Joon-ho made his Oscars kiss, which was very funny, and I guess that's all I have to tell you guys for this video. So thank you so much for watching. Those are the movies I watched this month. I'm gonna try to leave a link to my Letterboxd, which is what I use to keep track of the movies that I watch, but the last time I did that, YouTube flagged me for like content, whatever it is. Like, they gave me a warning. I almost got put in timeout. So I have to find a way to like do that without making it a link that brings you to Letterboxd, I think. Which is weird, but I'll have to see if I can do that in case any of you want to follow along or have like a quick link to where you can find those movies at least. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I will see you in another video soon. So keep your papers peeled. Goodbye.